Welcome to the Anime Review. My name is Cast. Before we get into episode 1, let's roll that intro. My name is Cast, and we are going to be doing a review on One Punch Man. With me is
Adam.
So we're going to be doing One Punch Man, and we're going to start off with a series of questions. So first off, Adam, on a scale to 1 to 10, how would you rate One Punch Man?
Ooh, this is a tough one. I mean, gut, just because it's a fantastically awesome show. So, part of me wants to be like, oh, yeah, it's 10. But, I mean, when I really break it down, I probably put it at a solid 8. You know, very, very good. High 8, maybe.
Yeah. The funny part was I was like, I'm going to go with an 8. He'll probably go with a 7. I'm going to go one higher than him. And you went 8. I'm like, well, now it just sounds like we both went 8. Great. All right. So, yes, I'm also going to go with an 8. Maybe an 8.5 just because of how clean the anime is through it. The message that we'll get into later. The sound on it is really well done. As of September 17th, I guess they said this year will be season 2, but it will be actually a different director and company that's going to be doing it. So I'm curious to see if it will be the same standards, like the same kind of clarity in voice, if there's going to be different voice actors or what. But I guess we'll see when that occurs.
I think the biggest things that I imagine if when they went to the next one would be is, like you said, obviously voice, music, and the overall feel of it is important. But the action scenes were really well animated in the first season. I felt fast-paced, but still you can generally keep track of what was going on. In anime and in general, they've been really stepping up the game with a lot of different animes as far as the way they choreograph the action. So
yeah, definitely, I agree.
With the way One Punch Man is, if for some reason they took a step back there, that would be what would cost them the most, I think.
Yeah. Now, to anyone listening, we are going to be going into spoilers and talking about the actual show. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it. As we said, we've both given it an 8. I gave it an 8.5. I'm just a little higher up. No, just kidding. I don't know. He said high 8 too, so can't really say too much.
Just go watch it.
Just watch it and then come back. Or if you want to listen to us and then go watch it, hey, you do you. First, how did you hear about the show? And then you say that, and then I'll go into mine.
Well, One Punch Man, trying to remember how I came across the show. I don't know if it was just seeing a couple commercials of it. I remember just kind of hearing a little hubbub about it and hearing how great it was. And I think I saw a couple of YouTubes of this show's great. And I was like, okay, what's this all about? And it was kind of loosely heard. It was about making kind of a satire or making fun of superheroes in a way. Satire, I think, is the more accurate what was happening in the show.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, well, I hear it's pretty great. And, this idea about a superhero who can defeat anything in one punch sounds, and as a writer I was interested, how do you make a character who's that overpowered interesting? So I wanted to watch it. So then it was fantastic.
McLeod, so he wound up telling me about it first, and his oh my gosh, this is the greatest thing ever. And then I was like, okay, because I take everything he says with a huge grain of salt, and if he listened to this he'd be like, oh, now I'm never going to tell you about anything.
But you watched it.
Well, he talked about it, and then per usual, every once in a while I'll just go on top 10 of 2017 or 2016 or 2018 or whatever it may be that year. It popped up, and it was the actual they just give you the trailer sequence, and I'm just I was pumped by watching the opening sequence enough that I was like, maybe I really need to give this a shot. And then I watched it. I watched the first episode, and then I literally binged the whole season. And I was like, this is great. And I've watched it, I guess, 3 or 4 times since then. And then one full watch just before we did this, when we first started to try to do this, because this is not our first attempt at this review, because we've been working out the bugs, hopefully to a point where this isn't making everybody go, oh my God, my ears, you're making them bleed. So yeah, I've seen it a total of 4 different times since, and each time I've enjoyed it. The only thing, and I know a bunch of people will probably be like, oh my gosh, you like it with English? More so for the fact that I can put it on my secondary screen and watch it when I turn my head, or that kind of stuff. So I do enjoy the English speaking ones just because don't have to read the subtitles for everything. But yeah, that's just me.
You there. I know it might be blasphemous to some. I'd prefer if there's at least a reasonable English dub. It allows me to, at least on initial watch, to be able to tend to multitask with doing things things, and I don't always give it 100% attention the first time I'm watching things when I'm at work or whatever. And so I have to, that way, if I have to look away from the screen, I'm not missing a huge chunk. I can actually still hear what's going on. And then
exactly, you're not missing that huge, like, what is going on? Oh, they're bringing a nuke to the gate or something. Where did they get this nuke? Or how did, what did this gate, what does it do? You miss that key component sometimes when you turn away from a dubbed anime versus like when it's subbed and you're just like, okay, oh, that was why, because I had my head turned out, but I still heard this key component to like their whole plan kind of a thing. All right, so we'll move past that one. How would you describe the show to somebody who hasn't watched it?
I would say kind of what I said a little bit earlier in the way I heard it first described. It's a satire on superheroes, not just superheroes, but like the OP superhero, like the Superman or Goku or any of those superheroes that like they never lose.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. It's like kind of poking a little bit of fun at that. And it's like, what if you had a character, you always know that these characters are going to win, but like what happens if this character is like so overpowered he defeats everything in one punch?
Yeah.
That's Saitama.
Yeah, kind of where I would say is like, hey, do you find something like a parody of Superman to be funny where that person is so super powered, you never have to worry about them not winning. However, seeing them interact in their normal day life, interacting with everybody as this person who's this overpowered, but also extremely dense kind of about it. His struggles are more of the I can't find a good fight, and at the same time everybody hating on me because literally destroy like a ton of crap. And how he interacts with everybody in this futuristic world where, monsters come every 15, 20 minutes and wreck town.
Right.
Yeah, and that's what's a favorite scene or scenes, it doesn't have to be one, throughout the whole of season 1.
Favorite scene? I mean, this show has like a lot of great little moments throughout it. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of them come with like when you're like, oh man, Saitama's getting beat up, and then when you realize, oh no, he's not, and then he's just like suddenly has this realization of, oh shit, I'm missing a sale at the supermarket. Yeah. And he just like one punches the thing and just splatters it, and it's like, oh, and then he's like, oh wait, we can still run, and they just run away.
Yeah, we can still make it if we run. Like, let's do it.
Moments like that are great. I mean, there's a lot of those little moments in the show that are just super great. I mean, it's the climax of the show of the first season. I think it's my favorite scene of all is, when he faces the challenge that looks like it might even be a little bit of a challenge. This thing's actually surviving his punches, when
it's Boros.
Yeah, when Boros was fighting him, and like it's surviving all the punches that he's used throughout the whole first season. And then it comes to like Boros, I'm gonna just blow up your whole planet. And then he's like, all right, well then I guess I have to be serious. And he does his first serious punch.
Yeah.
So meaning that he's never even used a full power, not even a full powered punch ever in the entire season that you've seen with him so far. So like the scale of his power hasn't even been tapped at all. And that moment of like serious punch, boom, and it's like you're like, what the fuck was that? Like,
and then he's of course going like, you did a good job. He's like, don't even mock me. You weren't even trying.
Like that moment is like, it gives you a scale of not even really a true scale, but just like a glimpse into the real power of Saitama. Like this monster that was about to blow up the whole planet, Saitama blew it up with his first potentially real punch, and not even like him pushing his limit punch. He tries to congratulate him like, you were really tough, and he goes, you weren't even trying. And like that, the realization of that's how overscaled Saitama is over everybody.
Yeah.
He's not even like another level. He's on like another world as far as power level.
Yeah. Kind of have like 3. The starting scene where he saves the kid, which starts the whole thing, even though he doesn't really know it.
The butt chin kid.
The butt chin kid, yeah. And the crab guy who he just takes his tie and basically wraps around the dude's eye and then pulls his whole innards out through his eye, which some people, I don't know, might shy away from at that point.
It's a very well constructed scene because you flash back between that and then him like spilling out all of his guts through his eye socket for some reason, killing the crab thing. And then it flashes to him in modern time where he's buying chopped up crab at the supermarket.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
so a little bit of a interesting flash forward kind of. And then the dream sequence when he's fighting the mole people.
At the end of the first episode.
Yeah. Where he's like, this is going to be the fight of my life. This is going to be everything.
Yeah,
and then finally have a fight. He wakes up. He's like, it's all a dream. The mole people, like, earthquake, a guy pops up. He's like, oh, and then it's like that guy sees him, goes like, never mind. It like dreams right down. It's like, okay.
They're like super pathetic.
Yeah, they're like super pathetic. And then the third one is literally when he punches the Sea King so hard, he makes the rain disappear. Just like to see, it's like, this is how powerful he is. Remember when it was raining? Yeah, he hit that guy so hard, it literally stopped raining. And the bicycle guy.
Moomin Rider.
Moomin Rider is probably the most tragic character. And this actually leads into my next one, which is favorite character. He is also my favorite character. Because every time they always do it where it's like, Moomin Rider's here, he'll save us. And then you just hear the horrific scream of a woman. He's been beaten on the ground. And it's probably the saddest thing because he's like the number one C because he'll never move up the rankings. Oh, and that's the thing. There's a ranking system kind of didn't really touch on for being a hero. S, A, B, C. There's no one below C, right? Or is there a D?
I think C is the bottom.
Yeah, I think C is the bottom. And he's like number one of C.
Well, Moomin Rider, he's the all heart character. Like,
yeah.
You know that like as far as like superheroes go, he's never going to be a superhero, but he has the heart of a hero for sure. He has all will to be a hero. He just doesn't have the power. He's
the regular human who just he's the average guy who still wants to do good.
Right. If you put the spirit of Moomin Rider inside of Saitama, you would have Superman.
Yeah.
Like he has the will he wants to help people so bad and be this great hero to everyone, but he's just a dude. And he's trying to fight demigods and gods, and it's just not happening.
And that's the thing is he throws his bike at the Sea King, and everybody's charged up to he could do it. And of course he doesn't. That's a heartbreaking moment because later on the thank you that Saitama gets from him, and they do the whole thing, and they're sitting there, and he buys a meal and stuff, and it's just I want you to be powerful just because of how bad I feel for you. You have so much heart. You're the character that my hero journey would be. You know what I mean? Kind of a thing.
Now that you put it that way, honestly, I think that's a really good point. I think Moomin Rider is what we expect from a hero, what we expect the spirit of a hero to be. And I guess the closest thing to that in the show would be Genos, right? He is trying to be a hero and he has the power.
Yeah.
But Moomin Rider is what we expect from our Superman, from the spirit of him. He
never
Superman
gives up.
Spirit.
He charges right into the battle, no matter the circumstances or odds.
Right.
And he gives it his
Whereas
all.
all the other heroes in this show don't have that spirit. They fight, but most of them do it. It's because it's their job.
Yeah.
They're not.
Or they want publicity, or you know.
Right. And almost to some level, they're not. They don't have that pure heart that you can tell Moomin Rider has. Everybody else is they're either doing it for publicity or they want to compete to be higher ranked or whatever. It's not necessarily just about being a hero. Moomin Rider, you almost get from him, it's I just want to be a hero, a great hero.
Yeah.
He's almost a mirror of Saitama. Saitama's the opposite. He does it for fun. He's not about being the best hero ever. Even though he is power-wise, he's grossly overpowered.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have the spirit Moomin Rider has. Moomin Rider has all the spirit, but none of the power. Actually, I never thought about that relationship between those two until you just said it. So that's kind of cool.
Yep. And so I said my favorite character. So what would be your favorite character? I almost said my favorite writer. I'm like,
yeah, I think he's the only writer in the show.
He's the only writer.
As cheesy as it is, the main character, Saitama, I think it's just a great character. It's a unique character struggle that I like from him. That the fact that like usually you have all these superheroes and they kind of still I need to save the world and blah blah blah. But it's of course you're gonna save the world. You're fucking Superman. You're going to win.
Yeah.
Or you're Goku. You always win. And if you don't have enough power, you'll find more power somehow and become more powerful and win. Whereas Saitama, he's just grossly overpowered of everybody right out the gate, and no one's ever matched him or seems to be able to even come close.
And the nice thing about Saitama is he also also isn't a drama-filled character.
Right.
Which I think is, he's not deep or brooding or anything like that. He's very much this character who sits there and just goes like, I want to go to the store and get these foods on sale. Or like, oh, look at him. He's so happy. Like when he was fighting
Supersonic.
Supersonic. I forget what it is because it's like he redundantly says speed twice.
Yeah. Super speed, supersonic or something like that.
And he's like, oh, look how happy he is. Like he's so oblivious to it. It makes him a great character too.
I mean, as far as favorite scenes, it's a fun moment when he accidentally sack taps Supersonic.
Oh yeah. He just accidentally hits him.
Did it beat you? You ran into my hand.
Yeah. He's like, I'll get you. I got to go.
Yeah,
balls.
That's a good moment.
Yeah,
yeah. I think for me, yes, he's just he's a very straight. This character who has, based on other comics, you would expect great power, great responsibility. Like he doesn't care. Like he's just, I'm doing this for fun. Yeah, I just want to fight. Like I just want to find a good fight. It's not about like I must save the whole world, even though he does regularly. Yeah, it's just like,
Well, even with his fight with Genos, he's just like, why are you dodging? You're not taking this seriously. And he's like, yeah, but if I did that, like, boom.
You die.
It's like the wind. Oh, if you were to hit me with that, I would be obliterated. So he does have that little bit of, like, responsibility with his power. Right. He knows, like, what will happen. But at the same time, he does it in this super jovial kind of,
And, like, I mean, like, when you say, exactly. When he's fighting Genos, like, it's like people get frustrated. Why aren't you using full power? He's like, because you can't handle full power. No one can handle full power. And it's like, so it's like, you can't even handle half power, or who knows even what power level he's using in the show. Exactly. He might be using 10% the whole show until his serious punch, and maybe then he's using 50. Maybe then he's using 100. But I mean, from all guests, that's probably his first real punch, and it's not even, most people's normal real punch isn't really 100%.
All right, what message did you take away from the show? I'll let you take the first crack.
So what I got from when I was watching it, the message from the show and what they're really diving into is the challenge of modern life. I think, like life, for Saitama being a superhero, all the monsters he deals with, they're not hard, and it's kind of like, how do you progress in life when things aren't hard? And what do you find to find meaning in your life? And I think that's because I mean, in modern day society, like we might tell ourselves like, oh, my life is so hard, whether it's paying bills or whatever, but like in comparison to like humanity in the past, it's really not that freaking hard. You need some food, you go to the supermarket. If you need, I mean, as long as you're living in a modern Western society, that's usually the case. You need food, you go to the market. You need something, you go get it. It's not, as long as you have a little bit of money, you can usually go get what you need. It's not hard, and you don't need to fight for your life to keep yourself alive in modern society anymore. And for a lot of people, that's a struggle. It's a struggle for meaning. It's a struggle for life in a different way. It's not like an active struggle for your survival life, but people get, nowadays a lot of people get depressed because they don't have meaning in their life. They don't have a struggle for something to fight for. I think that to me is what I got from the show, and that's what I got from Saitama. His life isn't hard. Every time he thinks like, oh, this is going to be my challenge, and then it just isn't, because he has the ability to do it easily. And so the challenge is finding a challenge.
Yeah. For me, I like say the takeaway is, honestly, I don't know. You had such an in-depth version of that like what the show's takeaway is from it. I just kind of reminds me of like a Hero for Hire kind of a thing, where it's even in the darkest, I guess, times that there's like light. You have to be like lighthearted. Like everybody's always like more down on themselves as characters. Like all the superheroes themselves are overly critical of themselves. And then you have Saitama who just sits there and it's just like, I am what I am. I do what I do. You know what I mean? And it's like he's that
voice of reason, almost like not as hard as you think it is.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, the one guy who steals a super suit that's bald and has a thick head, and he's like, yeah, get a job. Like, you know what I mean? He's like, and then that guy throughout, he's like, I'm gonna get a job. Like positivity about like these characters. It's like even like, oh, this group of people who have bald heads. It's like, oh no. Like his minor crisis is like, please don't let people think that I am with them. Like, I'm going to go take him out because I don't want people to think that of me. But like, even that, he's just at the same time is still kind of like just super lighthearted. And I think even through the whole thing, even to the end, when he's like trouncing around in Burroughs' ship and destroying it, he's still got this weird sense of overall glee, like childish, like wonder about him and stuff like that. So I think like it's in a world of everything kind of being overcritical and dark and kind of negative, he's this one continuously positive, almost childlike exuberance and joy. And I think that's kind of my message for it, is just like, hey, take everything with a grain of salt and like, you know, just be as positive as you can. So maybe I think that's my message I'll go with.
I think that's an interesting takeaway as well. And I think it's interesting to see the two different lenses that we saw it through. I think even like your take on the power suit bald guy, and in the end, after his interaction with Saitama, what his choice was is like, you know, he had this big like struggle, like, oh, I got to become the supervillain to do whatever, and then like he gets beat, and then what's his answer? Go get a job.
Go get a job.
It's like go do the normal thing. And it's not the hard thing. It's that easy to go get a job, and your life will be okay. Like life is gonna be okay. Like no matter how hard and monstrous things are, like you just suck it up, do what you're supposed to do, and it's really not that bad.
Exactly. All right. I think we've hit about the questions, and I think we've kind of talked a fair bit about kind of like all our points. So I'll just say, what are your closing thoughts on the show itself?
My thoughts on the show is, you know, what we were just saying in the mini show. I think the show's really great. If you're a fan of superheroes or anime or just, you know, a good fun show, like if you like a good, you know, lighthearted show in general, I think this fits the bill. I've shown this to a few people who don't even really normally watch anime, and they thought it was a funny, good time. They ended up watching it even though they normally aren't people who watch anime, just because it was a good fun time. And I think whether you were looking for something more serious and trying to find an in-depth meaning like what I kind of found out of it, or whether you're just looking for a lighthearted romp, it's a great time. I don't think anybody should miss this one.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that. I've talked about it to some people, and they've seen it and they loved it. And I think it's just a show that kind of, whether you like, you know, superheroes or whether you just kind of like comedy and stuff like that, it has a lot of it. And the music is well done. You know, I felt like it went really fast, and it's on Netflix, at least at the moment still. So, yep. I mean, it's something that if you have Netflix and you just want to watch something on there and just have it up, it's definitely a good one to watch. I think with that, we'll kind of end it. Thank you guys so much for coming and listening to our anime review podcast. Again, I am Cast, and with me is Adam, and we'll be doing another one. I'm not really sure which one we're going to be doing next. I think we talked about, I think we might go back to one of the ones we did way back before we revamped the podcast, which is maybe like Outlaw Star, or maybe we'll hit Hero Academia, or maybe even Naruto. I don't know. So just stay tuned for episode 2. And thank you guys for listening. And Adam, thank you for hanging out with me.
Happy to be here.
All right. And if you guys haven't, please hit the subscribe button and the bell, because YouTube analytics is annoying. So again, thank you guys so much, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.
Have a good one, everybody.